So this kind of feels like a long time coming, but Redbeard Effects are back with a new release. This is the bearded Vulture direct drive, and it might just be my favourite Redbeard Effects pedal yet. And to be honest, I really didn't think it would be. That's right, Redbeard is back. Mikey Demas of Skindred and Adrian Thorpe of Thorpe Effects' little side project, if you will. The Redbeard stuff always hits hard, brings unique ideas to guitarists, and just always makes your riffs sound fatter. And the bearded Vulture is no exception to that. But what exactly is it, and what is a direct drive? Well, the pedal is inspired by the sound of one of Mikey's favourite studio outboard bits of gear, the Culture Vulture. Now, to be honest, I'd never heard of that before. It's not something I've come across, and I think that's because it's not actually a piece of gear specifically designed for guitarists. It's an all-valve studio preamp distortion tool that's really just used for mixing. But what Mikey discovered is that it sounds absolutely colossal when you plug a guitar into it. So what does the direct drive bit mean? Is it a preamp? Is it a distortion? Is it a fuzz? And my answer to all of that is yes. It kind of does all of the above. For me, leaning towards more of the fuzzy side of things. And it sounds absolutely mega on guitar and just really unique, not something I've heard before. But the lads didn't stop there. They decided to add an octave up, like a vintage octave up style circuit to the pedal, completely independent to the drive side, giving you 3 interchangeable tones that sound great, stand out, have an urgency and an immediacy to them. And I'm pretty confident there's no other pedal out there that sounds like this one does. Okay, let's jump into some tones. We're gonna hear the drive side of the pedal first. I know we haven't talked about the controls yet, but we'll hear them and then we'll dive a bit deeper into what they're doing. I've got the pedal set up initially where I think is a good starting point, with the bias turned all the way down and the timbre turned all the way up, and then the volume and drive in the middle. If you're enjoying the video so far, please go down and subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps me out. There's some exciting things coming that I know you guys are going to want to see. The best way to stay up to date is subscribe, hit the bell if you fancy it, and yeah, let's carry on with the bearded Vulture. We've got 6 controls spanning the 2 sides of the pedal, 4 controlling the drive section. I'm assuming we all know what volume and drive do, but bias and timbre are a little more interesting. Bias allows you to control the more spitty and gated sounds in the pedal. Turning it all the way down is the most open, less spitty and gated, and turning it up, it gets the more gated and spitty. This works really closely with the drive control, so watch out for that. You've kind of really got to match your bias knob to your drive knob. For example, if you have your drive set too low and your bias set too high, your sound will just kind of cut out. You can sort of hear when the bias starts to kick in and get that kind of spitty gated sound, so it's pretty easy to do. And then the timbre is our only EQ tone control on the pedal, but actually doesn't work anything like a traditional tone control. And I think that's actually for the better, because it's really simple to use, but spans a huge range of tones. All the way up, to me, sounds the most natural or the most normal guitar tone. It's definitely the most mid-forward, and then turning the timbre knob down scoops the mid-range, but also feels like it completely shifts the feel and frequency range into a different place. Funnily enough, my 2 favourite tones are with the timbre knob all the way up and with it all the way down. Let's move on to the octave section of the pedal. I'm so happy that they included this. We have a level and a drive control, and it's such a cool sound. I love this octave side of the pedal, and being able to drive that independently to the drive section is such a great sound. And also just being able to use it completely on its own, being able to engage that octave on its own, is such a cool sound in itself, but is great for stacking with other pedals too. Like a typical vintage octave up style effect, it sounds the best or is the most prominent using the neck pickup and playing around the 10th or 12th frets. So who is this pedal for? Really, I think it's for anyone wanting to break away from the Bluesbreaker, Klon, Tube Screamer norm. For me, it's kind of the perfect alternate drive sound that could really become someone's signature tone, I think. It's flexible, it's not too high gain that it's scary in a way, but it's also great for riffs, great for that erratic Jack White-esque solo tone. There's so much ground that it can cover, and it's all really cool and different. I really love it, and I wasn't actually expecting to, as it's based on something really specific and something I'd never heard of before. And it's found its way onto my pedal board and got me excited about my tone, which is really cool. Before you go though, before we end this video, I do want to try something with this pedal that I absolutely never do. And I thought, seeing as it's called the direct drive, I want to see how it sounds direct. DI'd straight into my audio interface. Okay, so it took a minute to find a tone there, but eventually we got to a place where I think that is a sound that in isolation sounds a bit funny, but in a mix, in a song, that would just sound so cool and it would layer really, really nicely. Okay, the bearded Vulture direct drive. Definitely my favorite Redbeard Effects pedal so far.